Hey guys, but I'm here with the day 2 of the challenge Zero to Hero. Uh, Little bit of disclaimer. I have to correct myself. I did something wrong with POB on this build. I'll just show you right now. Is that if we look at the full DPS, so not the average it, because like it only says like what the ball lightning of static does as damage. So if we click here and include it in full DPS, what I did is I actually counted the average number of traps, which is like the minimum is like 1 and the highest we can go is like 14 or 13. So I averaged it to 8. But what happened is that I actually multiplied my DPS by 8, and instead it's PUB already does it. So this is why we come up with 25 million DPS. So yeah, make sure you do not count, like, because normally on traps maybe you want to count them, but PUB does it. So yeah, it's not 130 million DPS, it's closer to 25 million. So just keep that in mind. And in order to achieve that number, you also have to use like every single curses. So yeah, just a mistake I did, and I wanted to make sure you don't fall for it. So all right. With that being said, let's move on to the atlas. All right, for the atlas, what I did is I kept using essences. So now that our build is like uh, not finished, but it's good enough, we can actually do a tier 16 essences without any problem. And I added a bunch of stuff. So the first thing I added is delirium, because delirium orb sells for so much that yeah, it's pretty good. So I added some points into delirium, and also I added some map duplication and conquerors, uh, shaper and elder maps, and also synthesized maps drops, and also destructive play whenever we're running a bunch of uh, shaper or elder or conqueror maps. It gives us so much more. Um, it gives us so many more bosses, so more chance of getting one of those maps. So that's why we're using this keystone. It's super good. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're using essence on every single map and running either world influence and just rushing them. And also we will be running Shaper, Elder, and Conqueror maps. I also ran a bunch of synthesized map because it was a good EXP. But yeah, this is the atlas I was using. So one thing that's really important about this build is we're already immune to Ignite and Shock with the Pyromaniac ascendancy from the Saboteur, but we need Freeze and Chill reduce effects. So if we take the Soul of the Brine King and we actually capture Merveil, we have 100% chance to avoid being frozen. So this is super important, especially if you're running Eater of World, because like those pesky mobs will just chain freeze you. So yeah, this is a good one. So in order to capture this, you have to, if you don't know how to where Merveil is, pretty simple. You just look at your atlas and you can type in Merveil, and then it will show you in what map it is. There's a unique one, but don't count that one. And then underground sea map, you just use a divine vessel on the underground sea map and kill the boss. And when you're done, you will have a field. So make sure you do that, because or else you will be frozen a bunch of time and you actually die with it. So what I did is actually boss rush normal maps until I got a bunch of Conqueror, Elder, Shaper maps, and then I ran those with Maven influence. And as you can see here in the footage, the DPS was high enough to just like pretty much one tap the Elder Slayers. So yeah, you can see it's pretty fast, right? There's no problem about the DPS. Just the regen from Maven can be annoying sometimes, as you can see here, but that's about it. Drux is always the one that will take more time because he has two phases, but still it's pretty easy with this build. So if you remember from the Atlas, Vivid Memories can give you some synthesized map. As you can see here, we get a Cortex from it.
Welcome. has no meaning here. Your pain will
Fight! Fight!
Since our chaos resistance is solo, it can be hard to deal with Al-Hezmen. I don't know how you pronounce his name anyway, but this boss. So make sure you dodge everything he does because yeah, chaos damage is really rough for this build. So for the Elder Slayer invitation, pretty much the same. The DPS is there, just that we're lacking chaos resistance, so make sure you dodge that hunter boss and whatever he does. And the rest is pretty easy, as you can see here. So the biggest part of the profit from doing invitation was coming from Crescent Splinters. I would stack and then sell for Maven Red at 4 divines per in bulk. So yeah, this is how most of the currency came from. But also like the map drops helped sustain. So most of the time we'll drop like Shaper or Elder or Conqueror maps, and then you can just keep doing this over and over. Then I ran a bunch of rewritten, augmented, altered, and twisted distant memories for EXP. It was super good. Here in this footage, it's actually twice the normal speed. So, but for the boss, I will slow it down to normal speed. But yeah, this was really good EXP. I ran all the ones I actually picked up from running like Strand and picking up whatever map drop at the boss. But I also started buying them at 40 chaos per because the XP was so good that yeah, I ran those 4 and then I did the invitation. As you can see here, bosses are no problem, so we just stack a bunch of traps and then as he pops up, he will eat all of them. So preloading our DPS is really good for traps. And yeah, then we just finished the maps and did all the EXP. And I did this for the 4 maps. And then we're gonna kill the boss. I will not put the clip of every map in there, but you get the idea, right? I'll leave the invitation for this.
At least die with some flair.
And as you can see here, there's still no problem for this build to do those invitations, even if they are juice. So yeah, I'm really liking the build. I just don't know if it will be my next league starter, but yeah, it's pretty good. I'll just let you see the fight.
Shadow, rise and a dazzling display of survival.
Next, we have all the Shaper Guardians. I just sped up the Chimera because this fight takes forever compared to the others because there's like 4 phases, so yeah. But as you can see, we're still doing just fine. So I'll show every single Shaper Guardian and then the invitation. Whenever you are encountering big essence monsters like this one, make sure you stack a bunch of traps because sometimes the essence monster plus the map modifier can get really rippy. So yeah, be prepared. Alright, a little crafting session. So what we'll do is use Stygian Device at least item level 84. And we'll quality it with Prismatic Alice, making them 20% increase resistance. So the first thing, as always, just scour and then use the Prismatic Alice. Next, we're going to split them. So in order to be able to split them, it needs to be rare in order to use the split on the bestiary craft in the menagerie. So we just use a Orbital Alchemy and then yeah, we just split them. So that way, since the prismatic catalysts are worth so much, it's worth splitting. Okay, split.
The first ones are watching survival. Just see them all. Disappointment. My bad. You are truly a survivor.
So if your filter is high enough, just make sure you hold Alt to pick it up. Now we have to split and do the same for the other one. Split. And yeah,
The first ones are
skill.
watching survival. No disappointment. That was fun. The ritual is
Again, it will be on the floor. Okay, now we have 4 of those. So what we'll do is that just we'll make them rare. That way we can use essences. And by the way, you can use any essences you would like. For me, I will try to get high resistance with the guaranteed tier 1 chaos resist. So we'll do. Just use them and see what we come up with. So those are all. This has tier 1 strength and tier 2 armor. Maybe it's worth something, but I'm not sure. I'll set it aside for now. This one hit tier 2, lightning resist, which is cool, but the life, the energy, and the armor is way too low, and regen is bad. So we'll just reroll over all of those. Again, a good lightning tier, but low regen life. Bad. Again. This one has an open suffix, so we could craft something, but I think tier 6 gold is too low. Okay, this one we'll keep it. Again, low gen. Task effect duration. Oh, so this one we'll keep it for sure. Yeah, this one we'll just reroll over it. Too low of a strength here, so roll. Okay, so here we have a good element increase in elemental damage, but the life is low. The tier 2 strength is cool, so I think we'll keep it and just craft like hybrid, chaos, and under resistance. We'll go to our bench craft. Yeah, what we can do with those. Here for that one, we'll just craft chaos and whatever other elemental. Okay. This one has an open prefix, so we can craft increase in elemental damage with attacks, and it already has life and armor. What about that one? Yeah, I'll craft again some chaos resistance, and then we can exalt slam. And this one has, one would just be life. I'm not sure about that one because increased stun and block recovery is pretty much a wasted mod, so. Right. So now if we just price check them right now. You can see it's stupid, but I don't think it's worth as much as it says. And the reason why I say it's always like worth less is that you have to keep in mind that it's the end of the league, so there's so few items and so few people online that it will be hard to sell you stuff. But if we just check not the increase in elemental damage with and maybe 40 yes resistance, Still like a couple of divines. We'll list that divines. This one's weird because increased flask effect duration is really cool, but specific to some builds. And I don't think increasing elemental damage with attacks fits with flask duration, but still. Well, maybe it does for some build. Here, bunch of chaos. This one we have to exalt slam it. And this one has a bunch of armor. And so, yeah. We'll chop the prices by a bunch because we want to sell them quick to be able to afford our mirror on day 4. So yeah, I will not, of course I will not, like, let's say there's one that's 18 divines, I will not try to sell it for 17. I will just try it to sell for maybe 5 or 6 or something like that and make sure we make our profit. That way we can just start again. And maybe not even that much. So yeah, on to the next one. Alright, we have a pair of gloves which has fracture 12% spell suppression. The reason why I didn't go for tier 1 is that they're really a high price right now. So yeah, it's only tier 2, but still we'll try to get something out of it. And we'll be using Essence of Zeal. It guarantees 17 to 18 increase attack speed if you look at the third line. So yeah. And the idea is to get a good suffix. Like here we have dexterity. So if we just price check this. Again, not what that much because probably has better prefixes than we have. If we look at, let's say, 15 attack speed instead, yeah, this is closer to something. But as you can see, it's pretty easy. And then with this, we have pretty bad prefixes. So we can either use Eldritch Currency or just craft a prefix and be done with. Or maybe keep suffixes reforge. I mean, yeah, craft suffixes cannot be changed and then use a Veiled Chaos Orb. But I don't think, like, I want to invest more than a couple of chaos on this. So what I'll do is just craft life and that will be an item and try to sell it for cheap. Whenever you're crafting for profit, remember that you can either like keep it for a long time and wait for the perfect buyer and at a high price, or just sell it for real low and now someone could buy it to just flip it, or someone who actually uses it. But in either case, you already made your profit, so you're fine with one or the other. A mix of both is always good. Okay, next we have the spell suppression boots. So those are all have a fractured 13% spell suppression. So I'll use again Essence of Envy and try to come up with something good enough. So here we have like fire, a low tier fire, but still. Since we didn't pay much for those boots, like between 20 to 30 chaos. As long as it is something useful, I will keep it. Here we have a tier 1 resistance, which is pretty cool. Those tier 5 are kind of low, but that one I will roll for it. That one has increased evasion, but this one has like the lowest tier of life. So we'll keep that one. And what about this one? Too low of a tier. Okay, this one has increased time block recovery, which is a waste mod, but it has tier 3 life. So if we were just to price check this, okay, we can, and since it has the open prefix, we can just craft some movement speed. I really like to use the onslaught one, but you can use anyone. If you are on the budget, don't use this tier, just use that one instead. But I will be using this. And for the others, yeah, again, same thing. And that one. Remember, you can always block. Just look at Poedb, and then you can exalt them. And yeah, I'll do the same for those two. If we look at Poedb, we can see that the highest weighted mods are that we do not want, because we have movement speed and life that we actually want. So this is what we're trying to get. So what we can get is flat evasion, or hybrid evasion and increased stun and block recovery, or increased evasion. For our boots, we actually have one that has increased evasion and the other one that has increased evasion and stun and block recovery. So we'll just craft one of the two others. So here, you can see I'll go back to Yeah, if we look at it, we'll just craft something. So, yep, for that one, we'll craft increased evasion. Okay, so you can craft any tier and then exalt slam it. Okay, we hit tier 3 life. Perfect. Now we can craft movement speed. Yeah, those are pretty good boots. Yeah, this is worth a ton. That one has increased evasion, so we'll just craft flat evasion on it. Okay. And then Soul Slam. I see what we come up with. Ooh, tier 1 life. This is so good. Okay. Then we can craft onslaught and movement. Alright, cool. So 2 really good pair of boots, and those are okay. So if we price check those, yeah, you can see it's worth a ton. Again, probably I don't want to sell for this price because if you look at it, it's been there for 28 days, right? And what about the other one? Yes, it's pretty much the same thing. You see it has like similar stuff. That one has tier 1 life, which is insane. And then since they are so good, those boots not, but since they are so good, we'll just apply some embers and ichors. Okay, so for the ichor and the embers, what we're trying to get is just anything useful. Resistance is cool, but avoid ailments. Alright, fine enough. Life regen, maybe not. 4% of fizz as extra cold, sure. Something. Here's an effect on onslaught, could be good. And here we have some resistance. This is one of the better ones because if people are looking for like just a pair of boots with a bunch of resistance, it will come up higher since we have 14 more in resistance. So yeah, this is it for the crafting session. Since Oshabi is so free money, I'll just keep healer. I paid 4 divines for the Sacred Blossom, and they sell for like 5.5 of the Crystallized Life Force. So, yeah. Have to find her, and then we'll kill.
Why fight progress?
I have another one, I'll just do it. Oops.
Behold, the first daughter of Rayclast. Why fight progress?
And just before we go to the sales, this is how I bought some full currency for divines and then sell it for chaos orbs. And then as I said, the chaos orb I will buy exalted orbs with them and sell them for divines. Alright, at the end of day 2, I have 166 divines, 1428 chaos, a bunch of essences, some of the Conqueror's exalted orbs still to sell. Also have a bunch of craft here that I did, and some stuff I'm looking to sell from the day 1 too, the stuff that I didn't sell just yet. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. And if this was helpful to you, consider subscribing to the channel and share it with your friends. And as always, take care, guys.